Hey everybody, I'm David.
I'm Jess.
I'm the husband.
I'm the wife.
We are married.
15 to life.
Happy New Year.
Yay.
Should old acquaintance be forgotten?
I'm not singing after the last time we sang.
I never remember all the words to that song anyway. I don't know why people. I want to know the tradition. Why do people sing "Old Lang Syne" at New Year's? I guess it's the memories for old like for all.
We forgot.
Yeah, for all memories. We'll take a cup of kinder cheer for the days of old. For the days of old. So it's a reflective song. I do know the words.
There's not many New Year's songs.
But anyway, yeah, there's not. Happy New Year. Well, U2's New Year's Day is a great song. But anyway, what a crazy season it has been. At the time of this recording, it's before New Year's, but we are already thinking about New Year's, and I've been thinking about New Year's for a long time. 2025.
Yep.
Let me ask you this question. Did you ever think as a kid about that kind of a year? Because I was born in 85. And I can remember thinking 2015 was a big deal because I'll be 30.
Well,
Did you ever think about, what's 2025 going to look like? 2030?
No, because 2015 feels like just a couple years ago.
No, but I'm saying like when it was like 1995 or 2000, did
I
you
never really
think?
thought about it. I mean, that when it turned 2000, it was a big thing.
Right, Y2K.
Yeah.
Any preppers out there? Did you have a closet full of cookies and things like that? My granny did. My granny had those wafers and the canned foods and things like that.
It's so funny that everybody freaked out so much about a number changing on computers and stuff.
I know. They thought that it would go back to 1990 or 1900. They thought it wouldn't go forward. That the computer couldn't process putting a 2 in front of 3 zeros. and
now we have computers driving cars.
Yeah. So all the planes are going to crash, and all of the networks are going to crash because all the checks are going to have the wrong dates on them, so nobody's going to be able to get paid. And it's
so funny.
And then it just clicked over like nothing would happen.
Which I feel like I remember watching all these news stories where people were saying it's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
Like it's fine. Like they tested things.
But all those people were actually nerds that knew what they were talking about. Nobody wanted to believe them.
No, it's weird.
Nobody listens to the smart guys. Everybody just listens. Everybody listens to the celebrities who are scared of everything.
I do remember though, it was a big deal when it turned 2000.
Yeah,
I was
15. You had just turned 13.
Yeah, I just turned 13. That's
Wow.
crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, but I remember being a Back to the Future fan, and when they go to the future in movie number 2, they go to 2015. Mm-hmm. And I remember watching that as like an 8-year-old and being like, 2015, that's a long ways off. And now it's been 10 years. And so as you're like, what is 2025 going to look like? And especially being in the church world, you're always talking about when's Jesus coming back? When are we going to get to go home? When's the rapture of the church going to happen? And so when 2025 comes, and you're just thinking, wow, we are a quarter of a way through the 21st century. Mm-hmm. And so it's things like that I sometimes just like, whoa, like Keanu Reeves.
Well, to me, I don't know, the 90s don't seem like that far away, and like it's just weird how time works in your mind.
I wonder if the older generation, like our parents' generation, I'm sure they'll tell us this, but I wonder if they truly remember like the 70s like it was yesterday.
Oh, yeah. I think they do.
Yeah, do they
it's
remember?
It's like our 90s.
Yeah, like I love going home and talking to Granny and Papa and Grandma, and when they talk about like the 50s and the 60s when they were just getting married. Mm-hmm. And my papa got saved December 22nd, 1955.
Wow.
That was when he got saved. He said that was his favorite Christmas ever, was because he accepted Christ that year. So every year he celebrates his birthday in January, and he celebrates December 22nd, his spiritual birthday. And so next year will be the 70th birthday of when he got saved. You know what I mean? So it's really cool when you start thinking about things like that. But 2025 being here, we try to every year, something we do when we talk about as a family. And I want to know for you guys, when you come up with New Year's quote unquote resolutions or goals or things like that, but we don't do a ton of those things. We talk about some things.
I usually do goals on my channel.
Yeah, I have personal goals for myself and personal goals for ministry. But I think something that we've talked about starting to do is really sit down as a family, because the kids are old enough now. We can talk to them about what are some things y'all would love to see happen in the next year. And then when we get to like July, talk about how we doing on those things. Where are we at? And I think one of our goals for this past year was to get healthier, and we've done that. And we're going to continue that journey on the next year. But one thing we definitely do is we try to come up and pray and ask God, what's our word for the year? What are you saying? And what are some things that, because the word for me this past year was best. And I carried that over. I asked God, I said, Lord, is that the word you want me to share with our church as well? And he's like, yes, it is. I want your church to look and say, what's the best thing? And so I did a series called Best Year Ever. And we talked about, choosing the best thing. I went to the book of Matthew and the Sermon on the Mount, where Jesus talked about this is what the kingdom of God looks like. And when you live this way, you're living your best life. And so we talked about that. What was your word for 2024?
My year, actually, the word started in like October and then went the whole full year, but it was health and getting healthy in my body, which I'm still working on, but I mean, we've made good strides, and also mentally and asking for help when I needed it, and just getting healthy physically, spiritually, mentally, all of it.
And I would say you've done that.
I've definitely, nobody's perfect, I don't think, but I definitely have made good strides in it.
You have done a lot better of speaking up and saying, I need help.
Yeah.
And that's something you would not do. I don't know what it is about the human nature, but to ask for help is weakness. And I don't understand that. That's the Bible teaches us its exact opposite, is strength.
And for whatever reason, like a lot of people, there's like a stigma with mental health. Mm-hmm. And I went through a really dark season this past year. And I remember coming to you and saying, like, I need help. Like, I need to go to the doctor. There's something like chemically wrong or something. And I got some help and I feel so much better. So never be afraid to, of course, go to God, and he is our ultimate source. But then if you need help, there's no shame in going to the doctor for your mental health, just like we go to them for physical, like diabetes and high blood pressure. It's the same thing.
100%. Yeah. And so those were our words for this past year, and we've seen those things walked out. Did you have any practical goals or anything that you wanted to see happen?
I mean, I had
You hit 25,000 subscribers. That was huge.
I don't like to put like a number count on my subscribers.
Arbitrary goals.
Yeah, for my subscribers, because I'm in several like YouTube groups on Facebook, and people get so caught up in their subscriber count.
Yeah.
And I just think that's a slippery slope of like making yourself crazy, because it goes up and down so much.
Right.
But that was a cool thing.
And also, you can't control that.
No, you have no, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, if you want to make a goal, I'm going to post this many times.
Yeah, you can control that.
Right. Or like, I want to improve this or whatever. And I make better content in this area, or improve my equipment. But things that are outside of your control, it's really, really difficult.
Right.
I did have a goal to read 100 books, and I passed that.
Yes, you did.
I don't remember I need to go back and watch my videos and see what all of my goals were, because I'm sure I didn't reach all of them.
Do you write them down anywhere before you film them?
Sometimes I do, but I don't know if I did this time. I'll look.
Yeah, I mean, mine were on a spreadsheet that I talked about.
Usually I have it in my notes, but I don't know that I had
I talked about it at our church staff meeting last year when Jessica was with me, and I talked about.
Oh, I do have a list of goals.
Okay, let's hear them.
Oh Lord, this is gonna make me look terrible.
No, talk about them.
Oh, okay. The reading goal.
Yes,
I did that. I wanted to read the Bible again in a year and do the Bible recap. We're not done with 2024 right now, but I'm on track.
But you will be done. Yeah, you'll do it.
Health.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to work on my confidence.
And you have definitely done that.
I don't know. I think getting healthy has helped. Yeah. But I don't know. I still feel.
Honey, you're doing a podcast with me right now, and you preached on Mother's Day.
That is true.
And you've stepped up immensely with teaching and helping at the church. The Secret Sister thing was out of your comfort zone. You did that. Yeah. There was a lot of things you've done this year to boost your confidence. Yeah. I'm proud of you.
The only other one is my prayer life, which I always feel like I could do better. But I started doing like a prayer journal, and I did that not every day, but I've done it consistently this year, and that's been very helpful. So, I mean, those are pretty good. Yeah. There wasn't a lot on that list, but.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, my goals were to definitely try to stretch my personal prayer time. I would definitely want to read the Bible as consistently as I could. And a lot of people are like, well, Pastor David, you're a pastor. Don't you read the Bible every day? Here's the challenge with this. It's the equivalent of you give massages for a living. When you come home, your spouse needs a massage?
Well, yeah, like he's reading the Bible to prepare
always
for
reading
sermons
it.
and stuff.
I'm surrounded by it. I'm always listening to it. I've got podcasts going on about it. I'm listening to other preachers preach. And so the discipline for me, the hardest thing for me, my worst discipline, and I'm vulnerable enough to say this, is being still and just taking it in.
Not like trying to make a sermon.
Not trying to make a sermon. Yeah. So to sit, like, even, and this is a bad habit for a lot of people, but it's hard for me to enjoy a meal, like savor, eat it slowly.
Well, it's so funny because I was watching some podcast or video or something. I was watching a podcast. I was watching like a YouTube thing.
Yeah.
And she said her goal was not to cut out any food or anything. Her first goal was just anytime she ate anything, she was going to sit at the table and not have any like phone or TV going.
Correct.
And I started thinking about it, like, I don't know if I could do that. Like, truly, I don't know if I could do that.
When you do that and you enjoy conversation, you will eat less, and therefore your stomach gets to enjoy the food, and you'll feel full quicker.
I don't know if anybody else is like this, but for me, there is something about eating while you're watching something and almost like spacing out that I really enjoy.
Me too.
What is that?
I don't know, but I tend to eat less when I am not feeling rushed or feeling like I'm on a clock, and I eat less when I feel like I got all the time in the world to sit here and talk to somebody or
There's something very comforting though about like mindless eating.
Yeah.
And I think, and she was even saying like not everybody can do this.
Right.
And it's crazy to think like we should all be able to do that, but it's just so against how we all normally eat.
Yeah.
Not that we don't ever eat without, but every time you sit down, are you eating in the car? We
have fast food for a reason.
I'll take my phone and I'll read while I eat or whatever. But so if you just sit there with nothing, yeah, that seems difficult.
Very, very. And so going back to the original statement, that the reason why sometimes it's more difficult for me to have a carved out time where I'm going to sit here, read my Bible, and pray. I do my best to do that as consistently as I can. But some days it's going to have to be before I go to bed. Some days it's going to have to be, maybe I need to make up a day. Some days I'm going to have to talk to God the way I talk to Jessica, and that's going to be 5 minutes here and there. And thankfully God is not as much of a I want you to have this amount with me every day.
No.
That thankfully God is not. God is a person who wants relationship. And so God values and wants me to not feel the condemnation of, he's like, well, when you do come to me, let's make it quality. And here's the thing, guys, when you would normally go to somebody else or something else, choose to go to him then. And that means more to him than anything, because then that's saying you're number one. You're my priority in this. When I really wanted to eat a bag of chips, no, I came and prayed to talk to you about my feelings and what I'm going through right now. That's what God wants more than anything in the world. So I think that's one of the biggest things that you can do in your prayer time to really make it quality and make it mean something, is to really make God priority in those areas of your life when maybe he wasn't in the beginning. And I think that's a step forward in the right direction. That's what I've tried to do there. All the other stuff has been ministry related. And of course I've tried to make it a point, and I have done better about having more daddy-daughter dates.
What about mommy-daddy dates?
I know
we've done terrible with that.
Well,
it's hard.
It is.
It's really hard.
So let's talk about
it's not our fault. It's just hard.
It is. So now 2025, how are we going to fix that? Let's talk about that.
I don't know.
So let's talk about, first and foremost, maybe we can do 2 or 3 goals each that we've thought about. But also, let's start out with, what's the word for 2025? And I'm interested to hear what your word is. You want to go first?
You can go first.
Okay. God gave me the word for 2025, I believe, in August or September. And it's a word that I'm really, really latching on to, and it's becoming already a part of my DNA. And it's the word now. There's something about our mentality as people that, this will take care of itself, or I don't want to do that right now, or, can this wait till tomorrow? I really want to do this right now. I don't want to do that. And the Lord has really been putting in my spirit, if you're going to do something for me, do it now. There's a sense of urgency that God has placed inside of me of, you don't know how long you have left. You don't know, and I'm not trying to be morbid about death here or
This is
anything.
depressing.
I'm talking about the urgency of Jesus is coming back. Time is very limited within the church. Things are happening around the world that if you study the Bible and study end times, you know the stuff happening right now. Jesus is closer to coming back than he ever has. And the way culture is battling for the hearts of people, we don't have a lot of time. We don't have a lot of time to grab people and really share God's love with them and share God's heart with them. And I just feel this urgency as a pastor to give everything I have every time I preach or every video we make or every podcast we do to let people know Jesus loves you and Jesus has a plan for your life and God made you on purpose with purpose and God wants you to know what that is. And so everything that you can do for the kingdom, do it now. But that also is transferring over into marriage and with children. If you're going to hug your wife, hug her now. If you're going to speak something encouraging, do it now. If you want to play a game with your kids, do it now. Don't keep going. Well, they're on their phones right now. Hey, put your phones down, kids. Let's play now. Let's do this. Let's take a walk now. Making of in that moment, if it's feasible to do it, and it will be good for everybody, and it's something that needs to happen. Don't wait till she's in a better mood to hug her. Go hug her now. Don't wait until the kids are done with their game. Say, hey, can we save that? Let's do something else right now. Whatever you can do in that moment to improve life and not just stay on autopilot, or maybe we'll feel like doing this tomorrow, or hey, let's take care of this when the time is. No, do it now. Do it now. Don't wait for things to just get better. Make things be better. Improve the situation. Take advantage of the moment and really show your family now how much you love them and how much you want to spend time with them. And don't keep waiting for them to come to you and say, "Daddy, can we do this?" No, you're the leader. You step up and be the leader. You say, "We're doing this now." And I think that's something God's really been impressing on me because that's not my personality. My personality.
That's not true.
No, it is true. My personality is typically what's the vibe of the room and let's I'm not
You're very impulsive.
For me, I'm not impulsive on other people. I'm not an initiator. I'm not the person that steps up and says, "Hey, everybody, drop what you're doing. We're doing this." That's not me. That's not my personality. My personality is, where's a window of time? Let's plan this, and when that day comes, then we'll do that. But God's saying, no, I don't want you to be that way. I want you to look at the situation in the room and go, "Hey, right now, this is what we're doing. Step up and lead."
Interesting.
So that's where I'm at right now.
Mine's a totally different direction.
Okay, I want to hear it.
Okay, so my word is one that is not very exciting to me because I hear it and I don't think of it as a positive thing. It's very familiar to me as when God told me he wanted me to work on meekness, and meek was my word. So sometimes you get these words and you're like, that's not one I would put on a poster. That's not one I would scream from the rooftops. That's not one I would stand up at church and be like, this is the word. But there's also like conviction in that, because any word God gives you is for you. And I truly, the more I thought about not wanting this word, the more I felt like this was the word. And the word is content. And the world has a very negative connotation with this word. Well, you should never be content. You should always want more. You should always want more. You should always want the best. And even in the church, we say this. Like, you should always want more and best and better and keep going and all of that. And after the year, there's going to be anybody who's watched or listened will know that this year has been extremely hard for me. We've moved so many times, and for whatever reason that I still cannot figure out, this move has been the hardest for me. And God is showing me through this word. Actually, what's so funny is I've been thinking about this word a lot. And yesterday and today, the Bible reading section and the Bible recap had this word in it. And I was gonna read a couple of the verses. But God is showing me that my contentment is not on anything I can do or accomplish or manufacture, and it's not based on where I am or the financial status we have or the house we have or the location that we have. the contentment has to be found in him. And so I feel like when I say content, it may seem negative. But anyway, I was going to read the first one was one I read yesterday when I was really kind of thinking about this. I had been thinking about this, but in this section, like it's so weird how this happens. But before I started reading this, I was thinking about this and just kind of being like, but I don't want it to be my word. And it's Philippians 4:11-13. Not that I'm speaking of being in need, for I have learned to be whatever situation I am to be content. I know how to be brought low, and I know how to abound. In any and every circumstance, I have learned the secret of facing plenty and hunger, abundance and need. I can do all things through him who strengthens me. And so many times that verse, I can do all things that strengthens me.
That is the most misquoted verse in the Bible.
And when you think of that verse being tagged on to that passage,
it makes perfect sense.
Yeah. I can do, and what we do
when I've been brought
life,
low, when I've been brought high, when I have a lot, when I have a lot, when I have a little, no matter what season I'm in, I can do all things.
And it's not because of me. It's not because of anything I do.
Nope.
And so the next one is in 1 Timothy 6:6, and it says, "Yet true godliness with contentment is itself great wealth." Mm-hmm. And I want to have great wealth, because not financially.
I want to be rich.
But in the things of God. And
3 John 2 says, "Brothers, I pray that you prosper and be in health as your soul prospers." So wealth to God is having all your needs met and being able to do more for others because you're met.
And
so
this
that's wealth.
past year has been really difficult, and moving and getting used to a new church, new roles, new location, new schools, and all of that. And one thing I've always wished for myself is that I could learn to be more even-keeled. I always envy people who are very even-keeled, and they don't get upset. They just they're steady. And
melancholy? No,
they're not melancholy. They're just steady. They're not people who go real high or real low. Not that I don't ever want to go real high, but I am very much, if everything's going great, I'm happy. If things are falling apart, I'm really sad.
Sure.
It's just the normal state of how we are and our emotions.
Yeah.
When things are good, we're good. When things are sad, we're sad. And I just want to realize that my circumstances whatever happens with those, like Paul was saying, whether I have a lot or a little, whether I have abundance or I'm in need, I've learned to be content. I mean, Paul was in jail,
when he wrote that.
And it's just, nothing I face is that. And if he can be content in God and he can do that, then I can. And I don't want my contentment to be found in a place, a city, a church, anything like that, because we all know that things happen and moves happen, and not just this is all about moves. There's so many different ways in my life that.
But that's been a very real part of your life the last several years.
It has. And this move in particular has been the most difficult for me. I still have no idea why. And it's been a real struggle to feel like I fit here. I have friends here. I do. But it's just been a little slower. And making sure I think my kids are older and, they're flourishing so much here. And, we've talked about our Enneagrams before, and it's the same kind of feeling of security. There are places in my life that I feel very secure, and so when those things are upset, it makes me feel like I'm losing my security. Like I can't find contentment in our bank account. It's the same thing. I can't find security there either.
Right.
Our contentment has to be in Christ, and so I just feel like the focus this year for me is going to be learning how to be content. And no matter what happens, and I hope there's nothing really detrimental that happens this year, but can I choose to be content in all the great things that happen and all of the bad things that happen, all the surprising things that happen? When the kids have a bad day, when I have a bad day, when the car breaks down or whatever happens, is our contentment found in those things, or is it found in knowing who you are in Christ? So.
Wow. I think that definitely is a good word. And I think that's a word that's going to touch every area of your life too, and therefore touch other people around you. And I think a lot of people confuse the word content with apathy. I think a lot of people think, well, that person doesn't care, or that person's not, they've got no ambition, they've got no drive, they have no desire. No, maybe they've just discovered a place in God where when they need to push the gas, they'll push it, but when they need to push the brake, they'll push it. And they need to learn how to ride the ride out as God wants them to. And I think we quoted that scripture last week about, Jesus said, "Come to me, all that are weary and heavy laden, and I will give you rest." He doesn't immediately say you're not going to carry anything. He says, but take my burden on you. Take my yoke on you.
Like, I'm not saying that I want to be content and never have ambition. That's not what I'm saying.
No. I'm just saying people confuse that.
No, I know that. I'm just saying, I'm not saying I want to stay right where I am. I never want to have any more responsibilities. But what I think is it's so easy for us to be, what happens when you get a promotion? Everybody celebrates that.
Right.
We're so driven by promotions, numbers of subscribers,
right.
all of these things. Well, what happens if that doesn't happen? Can you still be content?
Right.
And, I look back on my years at YouTube, and I'm very blessed to have the subscribers that I have, and I'm so thankful for them. But I have a small channel, and I've been doing this for 10 years. And I hear so many people complaining about their subscriber count and their views are down. I really try not to get all wrapped up into that.
Right.
And even more so, if God has given me 10,000, 8,000, 6,000 people that I can show his love to,
yeah,
who am I to say that's not enough?
Right.
Who am I to say that I deserve more than that? And so can I choose to be content with where he's put me, where he's placed me, and go, if it grows from here, great. But if that's not your will for that to happen and you need me to be here, can I be okay with that?
Something Pastor Matt said yesterday was, when you look at something, you can put more emphasis on the output or on the input. Mm-hmm. And he said a lot of people, unfortunately, focus and only care about the output. What were the numbers from this? What were the results from this? What was the fallout from this? And if it doesn't measure up to certain expectations, well, then the whole thing needs to be scrapped, or this wasn't productive, or this was a waste of time, or whatever. But then if you look at the input, no, personally, how did that person grow from this? Maybe the outcome wasn't all that we expected, but was the input worth it? Did they get did they grow as a person? Did they learn something? Did their walk with God grow? And that's a ministry sense, but from a YouTube sense, did you learn new things about your channel? Did you learn new things about your subscribers? Did you learn new things about yourself? Did you learn new things about
if you have one person that watches something you do and is inspired,
there's your input.
You could change someone's life.
Yes.
You could impact them for eternity.
Absolutely.
Based on something you share. But I feel like we get so wrapped up in it's not enough. We're not doing enough. God, give us more to do. And maybe God will. But what happens if he says, I want you to keep doing this? Mm-hmm. Can we choose to go, it's not about me, because it's not about the glory I get.
Right.
It shouldn't be about the glory I get, or me to say, like, I got this many subscribers.
Right.
Anything I do is because God has blessed me with it.
Yeah.
And so I want to work on being content with where I am. And
that's good.
I'm not there yet.
I'm not there either. I constantly think and dream. I'm a daydreamer. And
I think it's great to have dreams. I'm not saying we shouldn't.
No, and you should, but at the same time, you can't live in a false reality. You have to
realize if those dreams don't happen.
Right.
Can we be okay?
Or if they do, but they don't look like you thought they would.
Because I don't know about you, but there's been very few dreams of mine that happen exactly the way I wanted them to.
Absolutely.
I don't know if any.
Absolutely. The Bible's full of people that God said things to them, Joseph being one of the prime examples. And it wasn't a bunch of sheaves that bowed down to him. It was him being second in command of all of Egypt in the time of a famine. Mm-hmm. And his brothers came and needed help. That did not look like his dreams, but that's how the dreams came to pass. And so I think a lot of times God would not have been able to promote Joseph to that level of authority if he had not learned to be content just being in Potiphar's house.
And in the prison.
And in the prison, when finally he gained so much favor, the jailer put a prisoner in charge of the prisoners. That does not happen. But
And I just
Joseph's
think, like,
attitude and
there's so
contentment
many times I
built that
think
for
if
him.
I was in that prison,
Yeah.
I would be the worst prisoner. I
Right.
would cry. I would moan. I would be like, God, you have totally forgotten me.
Right.
I did nothing wrong, and I'm now in this prison.
Right.
And that would have I would have stopped there.
Yeah. It would have
But-
broken me.
But Joseph was content,
Yes.
and he trusted God.
Yes.
And he's like, well, I'm going to keep going. I'm going
Yes.
to keep believing and trusting.
Yes.
And so,
I think we all can. I even though my word is now, I'm probably gonna have to adopt half of your word.
No.
Because I think
your word is good too.
I think I need it more in my life too. Though I definitely, my busyness and my desire to achieve. Sometimes you need to sit back and go, God's already done so much, and be content with what God's doing.
I look around at how much we're blessed.
Yes.
And I get so convicted sometimes, like, how dare I complain about such little stuff? I complain about us having to move, but God, maybe we can one day talk about, like,
Yeah.
the miracle it was and how everything came to be with our move.
Absolutely.
And it's so easy to get caught up in the hardness of it and the difficultness, the pain of it, and how hard it's been.
For God guides, God provides.
But He has never not provided for us.
Amen.
And the school our kids are at, the church we have, the coworkers you have, the pastors we have, we're so blessed.
Yes.
And anything I say about the move being hard, it has nothing to do with any of them.
Yes.
It's just change is hard for me. And I've had a lot of change in
You think?
15 years. And I think the older I get, the more change is hard.
Absolutely. Well, bringing this plane in for a landing, what is maybe let's do one or two. What are one or two goals this next year that you would love to see happen?
So mine are always not, I don't know if that exciting for anybody else to hear, but I love to read and I always have a reading goal. And I'm not sure that I want to make a number this year. I mean, I would love to see how I'm still going to keep track. But what I want to do is I want to stretch myself more. Like, I just started reading this historical fiction book and I'm really enjoying it. And it's not one that I normally would have chosen. I'm definitely like a thriller, psychological thriller person. I like some romance, but
Psycho.
well,
I'm
they're
kidding.
page turners. This has been a little bit of a challenge for me. So just being open to maybe trying some new genres. I feel like being open to doing that kind of makes your mind grow, and opens like new horizons. I love reading. And so there's so many authors that I've kind of shut myself off. Like, well, I don't read historical fiction. Well, why not? Have I tried it? So that's one for me that I definitely want to kind of explore. Oh, it's kind of like nerdy, but
That's okay. All right. One of mine on a personal level is to come home, put my phone in my room, and leave it there until later. And I know that's going to be, I know that's going to be difficult, but I really want to start mastering when you're home, you're home.
well, and I don't think it has to be like so black and white, but like if we had what one of mine was going to be too was to have more time, like family time, like dinner time, and all. It's very hard, but what if we did like 3 nights a week or whatever?
That's what I'm saying, is to have more structure in terms of family game nights, family movie nights, family sit around and play music, family talk nights, just but also you can't, going back to the now thing, there's no moments for spontaneous fun or planning those kind of things out if you're just waiting for everybody to put their phones down, or if you're just waiting for everybody to put down whatever they're working on or whatever they're doing. There's stuff that, yes, needs to happen. And of course, there'll be moments when I know God will probably be like, finish this and then do this or whatever. God directs me on that. But most of the time when God speaks to me, it's really the thing of, do you have to do that right now? Do you really need to do this right now? Look up at your daughter, look up at your sons, look up at your wife, and a lot of times when you come home, I hate the feeling of being unfinished. And a lot of times when I come home, I'm coming home because I just don't want to be there till 7:00 at night. But I'm also coming home thinking about, well, if I can't do this, maybe when I come home, I can read about it, or I can come home and look into it, or maybe I could be watching this, or I can come home and watch this episode of this podcast that'll help me do what I need to do tomorrow. And God is really like, you don't have to do that. When you come home, just be home, sit with your kids, talk to them, and you know, because you want to be a good dad, but there's that drive in a man of to be a good dad, you want to be successful so your kids can have more and can be content with all the stuff that you're doing for them. And I think a lot of times men confuse our identity as a father and as a husband with taking care of everything as opposed to being present and being the man who gives them attention and gives them love. And so one of my goals this next year is to be home and set my computer aside and set my phone aside. And
Well,
really
I think
be home.
too, like a big thing is we need to work on is just being intentional.
Yes.
And it's great to do things spontaneously too, but there's also times to
Yeah.
plan things out. And like, just for example, we are going to do a family night this week.
Mm-hmm.
And I've already talked to the kids about it, like just planning it and getting excited about it.
Yeah.
And being intentional to set the time. And I think for us too, like it's hard, but trying to find intentional times for us to do.
You're going to have to learn to be content with having a babysitter so that we can have more family days.
The problem with babysitters is it's expensive because I'm not going to ask people to do it for free.
Where God guides, God provides.
And almost every weekend we have events and things, and I don't want to be gone all the time.
We have to be intentional
I know
about
we
it.
we do need to. That's another one that does take planning. Yeah. But even like being intentional for at-home date nights. I don't know that we've had hardly any at-home date nights, or even now that the kids are in school, day dates.
Yes.
We could do that so easily.
Yes, we could now.
And we just haven't done it. So
yes. It's time to be intentional about that.
Being intentional about that. Being intentional about making time for the things that are important.
What's another goal you have?
I definitely want to continue on my health journey.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what it is, but it's like that first round of weight loss, you're really motivated. Mm-hmm. And then you kind of get tired of being motivated.
Yeah.
I'm kind of at that place now. And it's like, no, I want to finish this strong. Like I want to get the rest of this weight off and be done with it.
Yes.
You know? And I'm kind of...
And then put the guards in place to never go back.
But I'm really like stuck now and like tired of it. So...
Yeah. And surrounded by holiday food.
The holiday is the worst time. But also like we were talking about this earlier this week. I don't know who was talking, my mom or something, about how this time last year, I didn't have one bite of anything. Mm-hmm. I didn't eat pigs in a blanket on Christmas morning. Like I didn't do any of the traditional stuff. And this year, I want to try to find some balance.
Yes.
And I don't know if that's smart or not, but
no, it's very smart because you
like,
have to learn to live.
I know. I just feel like. And it's no slam against me last year. I was just fresh on this journey.
Right.
And I knew that I couldn't.
Yeah. You had to buckle down and change your way of thinking.
Yeah. But at the same time, like, I also know, like, this time of year is only one time a year.
Right.
And I want to sit and eat dinner with my family and I not sit in the living room because I can't have any of it, you know?
Right.
So, to me, like, learning to be healthy around food and not make it like an aller, it's a very emotional thing for me, making it bigger than it is, you know, and just realizing that it doesn't need to be an emotional thing.
Right.
It is, though, for me. There's so much feeling that comes around food.
I know. And you know, this is where my struggle with food is. Sometimes I stress eat, but a lot of times it's because I know what that's going to taste like and I just want it.
Yeah.
And that's carried over into other areas of my life.
That's like it's that discipline muscle of, I want this, but I'm going to choose right now. It's not the best choice.
Right.
And that's hard.
I'll do one more. And that is accept things when they're given to you and don't seek them out. Mm. And I think this is where I'm thankful your word is content because this is going to help me. I tend to think about things and wouldn't it be cool if we did this? And what's carrying over from the best word is that the best thing to do right now? And now what it's evolving into the next phase of this is, okay, yes, this is a great thing. It might even be the best thing, but wait for God to bring it to you. Wait for God to go, now it's time to do that. As opposed to, this is the great thing. This is going to be awesome. We need to do this. But maybe not right now, don't do that. And I think this is carrying over into the whole being more present. I have a terrible time being present. And it's something that I really need to work on. I want my kids to remember a dad who was there. Even if you're even if you're in the living room in the chair, you may not be present. And I don't want my kids to remember their father as an absent-minded dad. And
I don't think they would.
Well, I know they probably don't think that. And a lot of time, and I think that in a way they're not, when they get old. I just don't want them to get older, look back and go, oh, now that I'm older and I'm living my life, my dad didn't care, or my I don't think they will. But at the same time, there's a stress within me that's a healthy stress, where God is really challenging me to soak in moments, remember them, put them into long-term memory. It's something Pastor Matt is helping me with, because I'm just going to be honest right now. There's times when I'll forget things, and things will slip my mind, that I'm like, I would never forget something like that 10 years ago. I wouldn't, and I get fearful sometimes, because there's Alzheimer's and dementia in my family, and I'm like, God, am I having early onsets of this? I'm only turning 40. I don't want to think about this stuff. And the Lord has spoken to me and said, no, it's because you're not letting your mind rest. You're not letting your mind process things.
I've noticed from you, like, if you're really busy and I tell you something, you may hear me.
I bet I didn't listen.
But it didn't sink in.
Yeah.
You know? I could say in that moment, did you hear me? Yes. And you tell me what it is. But you didn't like let it fully sink because you're busy doing stuff.
And that's the whole thing of, if you're present and you're not constantly trying to fill the silence with noise and fill the silence with, I have to be watching something, I have to be listening to something. It's okay to walk through your house, not on your phone, nothing in your ears, nothing playing on the TV, and just listen to conversation.
Yeah.
And just look your kids in the eyes, look your wife in the eye, and just walk through the moment. And I have noticed when I'm doing those things, the internal part of me is like, are you being lazy right now? Are you not doing enough? Are you not focused enough? You had a lot to do this week. You had a lot to do today. You should start on that. But actually, going back to our previous thing, that's the busyness. That's the false identity of achievement and trying to get things and feel good about and validated about yourself. When honestly, the best thing is now in this moment, be present. And I think that's the other reason for the word now. Be a now person. Be a present person in the moment. One of God's names is Jehovah Shammah, the God who is there. Not who will be, not who has been, the God who is. He's a present help in my time of need. God thinks about the now moment. God is a God of the now moment. Yeah. And so I really want to be more present for you, present for our children, and really thinking about, if that needs to happen, let it come around the corner when it comes around the corner, and we'll work on that or do that when it comes. I don't have to chase it around the corner. I don't have to go looking for it. It's going to come to me in the right time when it needs to come to me.
And it's so countercultural because, I don't know, like, it's always like, make your move, do all the things, make yourself a success, build yourself up.
Well, and you're right. And God will present those opportunities when it's time to make a move. God will put it in front of you. Go make the move.
I go back to my news experience.
Yeah.
I did not make that happen.
You didn't look for that.
I did not look for that. And when it came, I was like, I can't do that.
And God said, make a move.
God said, do it. And I knew very strongly He said, do it. But there's times like, and who knows, like that was a cool experience. Who knows if anything will come from it? Who knows if for anything, it was a cool experience and I've learned from it.
Exactly. It was a good input moment for you.
It was. And to realize like God will bring me things. Did I have 100 million people watching and all this? No, some random producer found me. But you know what? God can do anything.
They didn't even put your name on the screen, which I'm still upset about.
It's because they wanted to talk to a real person.
Right.
That's the whole reason they found me.
A real no-named person.
They said my name.
I know.
So I don't know. You can't always manufacture everything.
I know.
So anyway.
But saying all that to say this, I'm excited about this year.
Yeah.
I'm excited about 2025. I'm excited about all that God's going to do in our family, all that God's going to do in our marriage. And not saying it's going to be the perfect year. There are definitely going to be seasons of this year we're going to feel stressed and we're going to feel overwhelmed. And it's in those moments when I'm going to be content and focus on being present.
Are you stealing my word?
Maybe I am stealing your word because it's a good one. And I think God gives us both words because the two have become one. And I think our words intermingle and mesh. And I think our words are are going to complement each other. They have very different connotations in people's minds, but if you think about them the way God wants us to think about them, they fit. And I'm excited about that. I'm excited about we are going to do what we've always done, and that's make each other better through the
Maybe I should get a necklace that says that. It's so funny because I usually like to find a graphic that says it. So I'll put it like on my phone or something to be really mindful. When you search the word content, guess what comes up graphic wise?
What's that?
Content. Spelled the same.
Wow.
So, isn't that interesting?
That is interesting.
So like your content, your what you create, what you produce.
Yeah.
That's all the graphics that come up. I'm like, well, that's not really what I want.
Yeah.
I want the word content, but it's spelled the same.
Right. Well, why don't you get a content necklace and wear it as content?
I don't think there's a necklace, but I was looking for like wallpaper, like a phone wallpaper.
Well, you'll know what it means. Or here's a cool idea. Create it.
I know.
If only there was someone that was...
Maybe I should be content with my content.
Ooh. Interesting.
Maybe God gave me the word content.
No,
just kidding.
You put out a lot of content. We both do. But I'm excited. What are y'all's goals for this new year? Leave those in the comments. I would love to hear them. Do you have a word for the year? If so, what is your word? And why did God give you that word? Or why did you come up with that word? I would love to hear that too. Jess, if they're watching us on YouTube right now, what should they do?
Like, subscribe, share, click the bell, leave us a comment.
If they want to follow us on our audio podcast, like it, give us a 5-star rating. Hopefully you enjoyed this episode, and hopefully it was cool to get an eavesdrop into our New Year's planning and thinking. You could also email us at married15tolife@mail.com. That's married15tolife@mail.com. And we'd love to hear from you. We will be doing more Q&A episodes in the future. So if you have questions for us, submit them. We love interacting with y'all. We love giving you shout outs, and we love reading your questions. And we've had some fun episodes lately, reading y'all's questions. And so please keep submitting them. We would love to be able to do that again in the near future. But Jess, Happy New Year.
Can't believe it.
And I'm excited about it. I'm excited more than anything that I get to walk through the year with God. And thankfully, God gave me a person to walk through that I love walking through.
I love you too.
I love you so much. You're my favorite person in this world. I'm so thankful I get to walk through the year with you.
I love you, baby.
Until next time, I'm David.
I'm Jess.
I'm the husband.
I'm the wife.
We are married.
15 to life.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New
God
Year.
bless you.
Bye, guys.
Bye.